to look at it. I still hear it, but at least I'm
You
not
do a
reading
360 and walk away?
Michael Jackson
no,
special.
Walk away.
no, definitely not a 360 because that would put me back where I started.
Not if you
You
moonwalk.
moonwalk away.
He is unaware.
Outstanding.
Brilliant, even.
Anyway. Nose, what are you doing here?
What do you mean, what am I doing here?
Oh, I thought you had better things to do, like watch paint dry.
No, I'm just waiting for my fucking primer to dry on some boys.
You're better off
technically-
staring at it than being
So
here.
technically, I am waiting for paint to dry.
No, you're waiting for primer to dry. Different animal.
Primer is
Different animal.
technically paint. Don't give me that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and gout is technically a cheese filling.
I request you never speak again.
Please, for the love of God, shut the actual fuck up.
No. Hello, everyone.
Then death be upon you.
Welcome to Fanfiction and Theater 9005, episode 85, with your host, SneakyDevil. We're here once again to marvel, to awe, to gape, to drink heavily of the banned liquids. Oh no, this is a rewrite? Oh, I think we read the original. That means like a...
So, Sneaky,
yeah.
I
Oh, no,
propose
we're
that we
already
go
starting
visit
off with
the Resident Evil section because they just put out the new DLC, finishing the story of Ethan Winters. And the TLDR is Rose is a mold girl who got made from.
I watched Gura. As painful as that was.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that girl cannot solve puzzles.
Look, she's got like one brain cell. One third of it is devoted to trying to run the stream, 1/3 of it is devoted to actually playing the game, and 1/3 of it is devoted to figuring out when chat is calling her short or flat.
Also true stuff. It's just, it is, like, like, I'll be playing something else entirely. She's on in the background, and she's, like, complaining about the puzzle. I'll look over, figure out the exact solution to the puzzle within, like, the second I look over, and then I just go back to my game. I'm just like, Gura, you just gotta do this, this, and this thing. And it takes her, like, another 30 fucking minutes. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Gura.
I mean, look, you're not wrong, but Rose got a Wesker dodge, so it's all fine.
Yeah, I'm, not too thrilled with the mold plotline.
Look, if they could do away with the whole mold plotline, I'd appreciate it. But if for once we're going to get to play through the Resident Evil game where we are essentially Mr. X, I'm down.
I mean, yeah, fair. Not really.
Fucking smash your way into an umbrella base and just rip through the fucking thing.
Yes, the BioShock 2 experience.
The prototype experience.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's a solid game design. Guys, what if we made the player the monster? Okay, and then what? And then we let them fuck shit.
The real biohazard was the friends we made along the way.
Hey, we let the player use the drill charge that every other Big Daddy gets. Won't that be incredibly overpowered? No, I mean, no, we'll just stick, like, a minuscule amount of fuel they have to use to do it. You mean, like, 0.05 seconds? Yeah. I see no problems with this.
So nerf it entirely.
Here's the thing.
No, it barely matters.
As Max has... Don't want to say consistently, like, but there's been a pretty frequent number of times when I've been playing a game with Max or telling Max about something in a game, and Max will be like, well, why can't I do X? And I go, well, because the developers didn't think it would be balanced, to which Max's correct response is, so they hate fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's one thing if it's a multiplayer game, I get it then. But don't balance single-player games.
That was always the worst. But, like, I really appreciated the advent of bug fixing and patching for single player games, because, you know, sometimes like there was a bug, they just didn't see it there, and it just breaks a quest. In Morrowind, that happened quite frequently. So you can't even blame it on, like, oh, well, Bethesda just got lazy because they could just patch things. It's like, no. Sometimes shit just happened. Shit gets
they
weird.
were always fucking drunk.
Well, that too. Sometimes shit just happens. Shit just gets weird in the code when you're doing it in a real-time environment.
And you realistically can't account for 1,000 variables when you got to push it out in 10 days.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, as much as I'm upset about it, the bug where you kill a dragon and its soul doesn't go into you. Minor bug. Unless it happens to be the very first dragon in the game.
Right.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. So, you know, that's great. I really enjoy the bug fix patches. What I don't enjoy is when developers then release an update where they're like, oh, we reduced the damage on this weapon because we thought it does too much. We increased the mana cost on this single player spell because we thought it does too much or it didn't cost enough. And it's just like, motherfucker, just let me have fun.
No.
The only time I truly support a change like that is if there's one thing that's just so massively, glaringly overpowered in performing that not using it is voluntarily handicapping yourself.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. That I can get.
That's the only time where I'm like, all right, wind that right. We noticed that 75% of people are using this one thing because it's just too fucking good. So yeah, we tuned that.
I mean, that's the player's fault for wanting to take the easy way out. Don't take away choice. Bad business.
Probably my favorite bug fix of all time was when Bethesda fixed the Augmentinium duplication glitch. While there was, on that very patch, something like 5 additional hard crashes introduced into the game.
Yeah.
That sounds like Bethesda, alright.
That sounds like the average update for Warframe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
New update hit, guys. Okay, cool. Hey, so we had to hot patch it in the first hours. Okay, so we had to hot patch the hot patch, and then we had to patch the hot patch for that hot patch.
Yeah.
Within the first 36 hours.
Okay, but here's the counterpoint. They fucking did it.
Oh, they did. They fixed it. But it got ridiculous.
That's my problem, right? Like, you take Bethesda. Oh, well, you guys getting to duplicate ebony armor, masterworked ebony armor, is breaking the in-game economy, and we can't allow that.
Fuck the in-game economy.
We'll fix those,
the single-player in-game economy that affects no one except myself.
You know, I have to say, I did
the
find
hard crashes in 4 to 6 months after you finish jerking Todd off with $200 bills.
Yeah. I did really enjoy that one Skyrim mod I found that actively kept an updated loot table of everything that was sold by merchants, and it also kept an active I don't want to say an active loot table, but it was more like a dynamic spawning table that takes into account what kind of money a individual would have. And so basically it was like, if you sell Daedric armor to a merchant in the middle of nowhere, there's a chance of a bandit chief acquiring that Daedric armor, and then the next time you enter a fort in that area, the bandit chief will spawn with the Daedric armor you sold.
Alright, that's actually really cool.
That sounds kind of cool.
That's unfortunate for anyone who does that. That's like, oh, why is he wearing Daedric armor? Oh wait, that's my Daedric armor.
Yeah, so if you start
It's
flooding
not
the
Daedric
market,
armor I enchanted.
Didn't I sell that 2 weeks ago because I made something better?
yeah, it's like if you start like doing all of those completely vanilla ways to make money, you can accidentally start arming the populace, and some of those populace
Based?
might actually kill you.
The right
That
to
is-
bear arms shall not be infringed.
The fucking Ebony Warrior shows up. Why the fuck
Oh.
Why the fuck is everyone wearing this?
Another
think
great
that
mod was
provides-
actually called the Market Stall mod, which made it even better and improved upon all of that, because it added the ability for you to become the shopkeeper.
Oh yeah, I knew that one.
And
I would. I'm down for that.
oh, it's wild because it dynamically added your shop to the list of Radiant locations NPCs can path to during their shopping trips. And each NPC gets a budget of gold based on their profession, where they're located in the city, you know, the rich, poor, middle class area, and their interests will all determine what they buy from you.
In other
And
words,
how
if you
much
set
gold
up
they
in the low end of Whiterun and all you have is Daedric armor, don't expect to sell a lot.
pretty much.
Yeah, no.
And like it'll dynamically update the ambient pathing for all the NPCs to add your shop and its location and how to path to it. It's a marvelous bit of code, and they made it even better with their final update before the whole Skyrim special edition fiasco occurred. I don't know if that ever got ported over.
I think
Probably not.
I would say my other favorite mods for Dark Souls were the ones that let you add just kick-ass player homes. Those were always fun.
In Dark Souls,
Yes, in Dark Souls, by which I mean
interesting.
Skyrim. Dark Souls is the Skyrim of Skyrim when you think about it.
Actually, one thing that the Radiant levels have really made me appreciate more is Dark Souls and that style of games, handcrafted enemies.
Oh god, yeah.
The grading of difficulty is far more appreciable.
In what?
Not just the smoothness of combat, but the fact that you grow with the game.
Oh, what, Skyrim?
No, Dark Souls. In
Yeah.
Skyrim, you can walk into your first dungeon and, oh, hey, everything is a legendary Draugr Overdeath Lord of Doom.
Actually, no.
You know,
Skyrim is infamous for its leveled lists.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot away from an experience. Since
I was personally, I'm a big fan of the hybrid system. Basically, the hybrid system was something that someone came up with for Fallout New Vegas. And it took New Vegas's difficulty area system and combined it with the leveled list system from Skyrim. And so basically areas would level up with you to a certain point. So you wouldn't get like mountain god geckos in the starter zone, but you would get like adult geckos, even when you're level 50 or level 5. But there'd be baby geckos when you're level 1. And it works the same for every other hybrid area, where it'll be like, oh, hey, this area is for level 25s to 35s. So if you go in here before then, you're going to be in for a big fight, and if you go in here after that, you're not going to have a big fight, so you can still feel like a badass. Because that was always the problem with Skyrim's pure leveled system, because you just went into like, oh, I'm going to go clear out this bandit encampment, and it's like, oh, the bandit fucking chief is like Bandit God, the Mountain Slayer, and he's got like all Daedric armor with an enchanted god-slaying sword lightsaber, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Well, and let's be clear, not just that, right? But like the average bandit was somehow capable of doing like, oh, well, I'm running the light armor savvy thief build, and this dude with a fucking warhammer hit. Despite the fact that this is made out of gosh dang dragon bone, and I have 6,000 perks, and I'm a master smith and master enchanter, it still did a third of my fucking HP.
Well, there's your problem. You're a master smith and a master enchanter. It's basing its difficulty level based on your overall level, including your profession
No,
levels.
I know that, but that's stupid that they
I
can
agree.
because
I
they're
will say
leveled
this.
to keep up with you. That's my
It's
point.
better than
That's what I'm
Oblivion.
saying. I
Oh.
prefer the hybrid
better than
system.
The less we talk about Oblivion, the better.
Yo, fuck you. Oblivion was great.
About its leveling
Played
system.
it.
Fair enough.
Oblivion had a lot going for it. I think it did a lot better than Skyrim, especially the rarity of items. Not as well as Morrowind, but it did a lot really well.
I've heard great things about the custom spell system.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Morrowind's
wacky,
custom
so
spell
fun.
system was absolutely top tier. Oblivion's was pretty downgraded, but still enjoyable enough. I didn't appreciate that in Oblivion, and I didn't appreciate they took it out in Skyrim, but I didn't appreciate that in Oblivion they like stopped you from nerfing yourself in certain ways.
They added training wheels. Oblivion is Morrowind with training wheels,
Yeah.
and I think that takes a lot away. Morrowind is a game where you can go do fantasy drugs and then one-shot gods.
Yeah.
Because you make literally 160-something thousand attacks in a second. So level 1, you can jump entirely across the whole map, go find the final boss, and punch him to death in like 1 frame, and possibly crash your game too.
Yeah.
Oblivion is you can mess around with stuff, and you can turn yourself into, oh god, I'm horrifically underleveled. Everyone is going to now kill me brutally, violently, and repeatedly because I made 1 mistake before leveling up.
Yeah.
Skyrim is just...
Skyrim's a roller coaster. You're on a track.
Yeah, and even worse, it's not even a particularly scary roller coaster. It's training wheels on training wheels, and there are some good set pieces. The concept art for Skyrim is amazing.
The magic art is great. I do appreciate that over Morrowind and Oblivion. Is the magic art itself made you feel a lot more magical?
Yes.
Definitely.
I think for me the big issue with Skyrim is they just didn't. They gave you a lot of freedom, but they didn't give you enough freedom in the right ways.
They gave you the illusion of freedom.
Yeah.
Because you can't really fundamentally choose to engage with the game world differently. You have no real flight. You can't do anything particularly wacky.
Well, not just that, but all
Mhm.
of the quest decisions you make are largely irrelevant. Like,
Yeah,
if
they
you
don't
opt
actually
to
change anything.
if you opt to support Caesar's Legion in New Vegas,
You fundamentally
that
change the game world.
fundamentally changes the way you engage with the game world.
Yep.
Yeah. A
Most
good
towns
example-
will hate you. You have to go around in disguise, etc., etc.
If you're the guild master of the Thieves Guild, it doesn't matter how many times you've committed multiple felonies and murder and all kinds of stuff. Everyone treats you the same except for a single line from the guards occasionally.
You're somehow the master of the Thieves Guild and the head of the Dark Brotherhood, and
My major issue
shit.
with all 3 of those games, and I don't really include Battlespire or Arena or any of those others because they are different. They are fundamentally different.
Yeah.
Morrowind seemed large, but isn't. Oblivion was actually large and had a lot of shit in it, and it was actually really fun to visit all of the places. But there wasn't a lot of reason to do so. Like, a lot of the places, like, sure, it had some nice stuff in it, but unless you were trying to be completionist and go to every single location, you probably would never have even seen the place in the first place.
One of my favorite versions of that is there are Brotherhood assassins scattered throughout the game world, and if you've become an enemy of Merun Dagon's cult, they will transform and attack you. But there's even like all these hints and stuff in the game, but there's nothing to actually cause you to engage with them because
Yeah.
they're randomly scattered. They're just NPCs, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
So,
I thought
you know,
that was a cool function as well, yeah. And then with Skyrim, it's like the complete opposite issue is there's a decent amount of places, and you have to go to all of them because there's something at every single one of them that you need to pick up. But so it never feels like you're just exploring. It's like, oh, well, I have to go here now and get this, and then I have to go over there and get this. So it's not like, oh, cool, I found a ruin. I'm just going to walk through it. Oh, cool, I got some loot at the end. That's nice. You know? And on top of that, fucking holy shit, Skyrim just absolutely loved its, you're in the last room of the cave, the dungeon, castle, etc., and oh, there just so happens to be a convenient fall ledge that just brings you back to the start. And it's like, oh, come on. Everywhere, like, okay, a couple of them I could understand if, like, the cave was super long and there was some shortcut to get back to the start. It's like, alright, fine. But every single cave is constructed like this. Every single building that I'm going to break into is constructed like this.
Look, building maps is hard, as evidenced by Fallout 76.
Fallout 76.
Yes, I agree with this statement.
that was Baby's first Memoirphager.
No, it's not even that.
It's
Because
not
it
even
doesn't
that.
function.
A lot of people got bored of
the
Skyrim.
illusion-
That's why Skyrim had so many mods for it. I'm not like that's the truth. The
Well,
reason
why
why
is there more
Skyrim,
mods for Fallout 4?
because everyone got bored of Fallout 4 really fast.
See, question actually about this. I was under the illusion that 76 started with fundamental issues, but had what was basically a good system.
No.
And it was one of those things that, had there been time to make it work, it could have been something really good.
It was-
76's main issue was that it tried to be a localized, massive multiplayer game in which that somehow, in these local servers, you could meet up with your friends and get randomly matched up with other people to a max cap of 20, which is like, alright, that's not a lot of players, but then if you have 20 people on those maps, the map's not that big for 20 people. So it's like really hard to outrun people or not run into someone, and it's like, oh, but what if I just don't want to run in? What if I don't want to play with other people? What if I just want to play the game? You don't have
Then
that option.
Why did you play a fucking Memoir?
Because you want to play Fallout, and you want to play the new Fallout
Yeah.
game.
I mean,
Like,
there's a game that accomplished that well, even if it was just bare bones. It started as an Arma 2 mod. Actually, it fell as a game too, never mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
DayZ
it
was
was-
a great, it's a great
Are
outlet for
you
that.
sure you want to talk about DayZ right now?
Yes, I enjoyed the shit out of DayZ when it was an Arma 2 mod.
Max!
When it was an
Max,
Arma
you gotta
2 mod.
save me! Max, you gotta give me blood! Max!
All I have are bullets.
That sounds like DayZ to me.
I had to do that. I had to put Sneaky out of his misery because he broke his fucking leg jumping off
I
the building
broke
like I
both
told
of
him
my
not to.
legs and I'm just crawling towards Max. I'm like, Max! You gotta help me!
and Max is sitting there going, "Ah, it's making so much noise. I
No,
gotta
he
stop this for
literally
the
just
zombies."
fucking reloads his shotgun. He's like, I'm sorry, Sneaky, all I have are bullets. Just fucking shoots me.
Base.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. So here's the thing. Okay, so I had the misfortune. I was able to play Fallout 70 shit when it launched
I played it when it launched, and
because
I
I
played it
happened
recently.
to work at a video rental store, and the policy was, oh, employees can't take new games home, because that will reduce our rental revenue. And it had been a week since Fallout 76 came out, and I went to my manager and I was like, "Hey, boss, no one's gonna rent this piece of shit, and no one's even come in and asked about it yet. Can I just rent it?" And he's like, "Yeah, go for it." It's like don't even rent it. Just take it. Bring it back in a couple weeks. So here's the problem. In addition to being a buggy mess, there was a story there, and there were lots of interesting quests, right? There were all the things that were the hallmark of a Fallout game, but they were inevitably harmed by the simple fact that they were trying to make an MMO, and they made sacrifices to make the MMO work. Not only did the MMO not work, all those sacrifices reduced the things that made Fallout great. The interesting quests and stories that normally would have had you interacting with a person or speaking to a human at the conclusion weren't there. Like, there's some mansion that you go into that's got like a secret underground layer of people trying to run around and do good, and that's awesome. But you find out something happened to them, and they all died, and you find out someone betrayed them, and you find out that they got into a fight with each other, and you make it all the way to the end of the game, or the end of that quest line, and like running into a person or speaking to a human or even getting to talk to their supercomputer that was sort of sentient? No, can't do any of that. Those are all things that those are all possibilities that could have happened in a regular Fallout game.
Not in Fallout 76.
Like,
Because they
honestly,
couldn't have
one of the
people.
most disturbing moments I've ever had in a video game was genuinely the Dunwich building in Fallout 3.
Oh yeah. Listen, I remember
Honestly, anything Dunwich in Fallout, even the Fallout 4 one, is kind of really unnerving.
Yeah, but I
Fallout
still
4 was unnerving. I genuinely...
The Dunwich building was... Here's the thing. The Dunwich building in Fallout 3 is creepy. The Dunwich building in Fallout 4 is unnerving.
Yeah. Like,
what's the story of this Dunwich building? I'm curious.
So the Dunwich series is basically a inspired by Lovecraft reference. And every time in a Fallout game you have the Dunwich, quarry, the Dunwich building, the Dunwich book, the Dunwich obelisk, or whatever.
It's time for spooky.
Shit gets weird. In the fourth one, you had some hallucinations, and it was kind of freaky, and it was unnerving, but it ultimately wasn't. I wasn't like, to put this into reference, in Fallout 3, I stumbled upon the Dunwich building, unknowing, first time ever playing the game, entered in, was like, all right, it's a little bit weird. It's like we're just gonna loot this building, and then they started doing all the shit that happens in the Dunwich building. I was like, nope, nope, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. And I just left. I didn't come back to the building for like another 20 levels when I had like fucking power armor and a fucking tactical shotgun.
But so explain what happens in the building, Sneaky.
I can if you want me to.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Really well. So the TLDR is that there is an ancient cult that built an obelisk down in the basement. This obelisk is to some weird alien unknown god, and this god is an eldritch being, Cthulhu shit. Except it's done well. This monster, this deity, has created a swarm of ghouls and potentially trapped the souls of everyone who worked in the Dunwich building in the building. On top of that,
you're not wrong, but like to set the setting here, to frame it a little bit better, you find this building, right? And it starts out just like any other ruined building that you're going to break into in Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, or 4.
Actually, it does two things very well. It's segregated off by a broken chain link fence. It's, if I remember correctly, slightly raised up from the ground.
Yep.
So the building is itself almost like the
looming over you.
Also,
yeah.
It's also, I think, the only building around for a long ways. And there's also a series of audio logs or journal entries, Pip-Boy logs you can find.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the other thing is that all the other buildings and the way Fallout 3 is crafted sets a certain sort of expectations when you go into these buildings. You fight some enemies, you find an audio log, you get the history of what's going on there, you get some loot, and you move on. But with the Dunwich building, it's just weird from the beginning because it looks fine, but it's this random building in the middle of nowhere. And you're kind of like, alright, weird design, I'll just go inside and grab some loot, and you enter in, and normally all of the buildings in Fallout 3 have this, like, either aged design to them, where, you know, because of age, collapses occurred, or because of intentional damage, things occurred, or because of people living there, the environment has changed. But the Dunwich building just has this odd aura to it from even the very beginning of just like something's different. And as you go deeper, it gets weirder. So it kind of really just pulls you out of the expectations you had for it. And then it's just like, hey, by the way, have some horror. It's like, oh, geez, okay, thanks, game. Fuck you.
If I remember correctly, the final log you can find
Tells you to leave.
I thought it was the people going insane when the bombs fell, as they're all suddenly... They go insane and cannibalistic and rip each other apart. You
know what it was? I don't know if this isn't just my faulty memory, but I think what it was is if you played that audio log in the building, and the ghoul screaming at the end of the audio log is playing, the ghouls will start screaming as well in the building and then swarm you.
Yes.
That's absolutely based.
Oh, fuck no.
And so it's like you're sitting there and you're listening to the audio log, and it's like, okay, the audio log, you start hearing the ghouls screaming in the audio log, and the audio log ends, and then the ghouls keep screaming, and you're like, oh, shit!
Right, well, the entire time this whole thing is happening.
This is the Bioshock log.
The entire time the whole thing is happening, right? You're listening to these audio logs and reading these journal entries about these people who think... Right, they're excavating, they found something weird, and then of course you've got the whole Cthulhu-esque, shit's getting weird.
I'm gonna ruin Dunwich Forest for you real quick. The face at the bottom of the hole is the same face you see in the train stations. It's just a reused asset.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
But...
Which of course some people are like, oh, that means that they were behind all the conspiracies.
No, Dunwich is actually clearly delineated, because remember, you have Enclave. I don't remember what they were called pre-war.
The U.S. government
organization. You have the Dunwich Conspiracy, which is mostly East Coast. But Obadiah Blackstone from 3 is descendant of a part of them. From Point Lookout. They are kind of sort of involved with the Eldritch, the magic, the occult. But that was itself distinct from the aliens, which was more Enclave's area of provenance.
Yes.
But there's also evidence of other stuff. Since we do know that actual pre-war psychics and ghosts and spirits existed, while Fallout 1 and 2 are a lot less... It's all non-canon. It's explicitly non-canon in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But there are bits and pieces of it. There's the diner at the end of the world. You can meet King Arthur's knights.
You can literally run into Scotty and Picard and...
That's right. But that's pure camp instead of being the more serious.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they moved on to that, is because in the 3D games they were capable of doing more visual interaction,
right?
And narrative storytelling.
Half the creepiness of the Dunwich building doesn't work if you're not in a relatively modern hardware seeing it.
Yeah, it's sort of like the horror of Dead Space, where you got a gun, but the horror of Dead Space is like, you have a gun, But that's not going to help you that much. And it's like, fuck.
Dunwich does that. The Dunwich building in 3 actually does that a good bit, especially at lower levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not just the Dunwich building, right? I still remember to this day, one of my favorite pieces of writing in any video game is the vault, the musician vault from Fallout 3.
Oh, fuck the musician vault. Yeah.
Right, I don't remember
with
what the vault number is, because the vault number is irrelevant.
73,
you can look
I think.
up the musician vault, and it's a vault that just right on the surface, it seems like a really important thing to preserve. It's a bunch of artists and musicians, and it's culture, right? It's
Vault 92.
okay.
Yeah.
There we go. It's based on the supposition that if humanity blows itself up in nuclear Armageddon, we need to preserve the people, we need to preserve the science, and we need to preserve the culture. Because culture is a very important part of civilization. Now, of course, at this point in the game, by the time you get to that vault, you've been through a couple vaults. You've been out of a vault. You know that vault tech ain't really all that happy and altruistic. So you're like, what the fuck are they doing with a vault full of these people?
Like, it doesn't matter. The first time you go into that vault, no matter how ready you think you are for whatever you're going to find in there, you are not ready for the lore of that vault.
No. And they do an excellent job with the logs, because all of the logs are from a very young, very talented violinist, but she knows that she's not good enough to be in that vault. Right?
You can find the head scientist notes as well.
You can, yeah.
You can. And that's just what makes you angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
Because this, right, at first everything's great, and this young violinist, right, they all get in, they survive, everything's fine, nothing's going wrong, and this young violinist is talking about she's so excited, there's so many people she looks up to in here, she's learning so much, she can hear herself getting better day in and day out as she's coming out of the recording booth. And then they start having weird dreams and migraines and violent thoughts, and you find out that the US government was like, yo, if we broadcast the white noise frequencies, we can make pansy-ass artists into fucking murder berserkers.
Based.
Oh, shit.
No.
Bruh.
Yeah.
No, Vault 92 is disturbing, but it's certainly not the worst. Puppet Vault is probably the one that made me sit there and go, yeah, that's probably hell the most.
Puppet Vault is, here's the thing, Puppet Vault isn't as creepy as you think it. The reason Puppet Vault is as creepy as it is because, was it XKCD or was it Penny Arcade?
Penny Arcade.
Yeah, Penny Arcade literally made the Puppet Vault.
Yeah.
And so there's an entire comic that makes it way better.
That would be the one that probably psychologically tormented me the most.
No, honestly, the most depressing one was 100%, even though it was sort of a joke vault, the 100 men and 1 woman vault.
It was
Oh
900
god,
men.
yeah.
God. Actually, I remember, I think it's in the Fallout Bible, it's actually mentioned that they actually didn't do anything grimdark in that vault. The vault just withered away and they all died of old age.
Like I said, that is the most depressing vault.
Why do you say that?
Because everyone there knows what is going to inevitably happen. It's like sitting on a sinking ship, knowing that it's going to take years for this ship to sink, but help is not coming.
And where could you go?
And there's nowhere to go.
The Clone Vault with Gary is pretty fucked up.
It's like it's different from the rest of them because yeah, the other ones are just like they're horror, it's depravity, there's fucked up shit, but the 100-man, 1-woman vault for me was just like depressing.
My favorite one is actually from New Vegas. It's where they have to sacrifice someone to the robot overseer.
That's an
That was
excellent one
also
as well.
depressing. That was great narratively and depressing in a different way.
Yes, it's another excellently done vault. That vault, the musician vault, right? The whole reason the musician vault sticks with me is because to this day, right? I know it's a game, right? So when I say I get mad about it, right? Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sitting here frothing at the mouth, but I'm just like,
It gets to you. You feel it.
motherfuckers.
No, to relate this all back to fanfiction, I actually brought this up a while back, maybe like a week ago, because I had seen someone had written on QQ a Yuri Sekirei story. And
Hey, there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
no, to me, I said it was very depressing and I wasn't able to read it. Because it's like, imagine, there's only 100 of you left. Your species is down to 100 people. And you've just bonded for life to someone who will never be able to reproduce with you.
Oh.
Yeah, 108, and you're taking at least one of you out of the gene pool.
It
Get
actually,
fucked.
it doesn't actually matter anymore. That's not enough individuals to sustain a population.
I know, but it's still depressing.
Well, no, their population is fully capable of breeding with people. Like,
Wouldn't it just end up diluted then, or does it have a
Yes.
special magic?
well, it does, but it's like
It was some well, no, because like
here's
the
thing,
whole
since-
thing with
since
it was
unless
like
they get killed, as far as we know, Sekirei, if not live forever, have enormously expanded lifespans.
So the lore is, and the reason why it's not as depressing, even though it's only 108 people, and if they all paired up with another of the opposite sex, it's less depressing on that one because in the lore, there's one of the dudes who has the twins, the lightning twins. I think they use lightning, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is a descendant, and technically speaking, all of the Akishabis,
Ashikabi.
yeah,
Akishabi, yeah.
all of the
Ashikabi.
Akishabis are basically descendants of the Sekireis that landed like 5,000 years ago on the planet. And that's why they're compatible. And he had enough of their genetics left in him that he was able to be modified by their technology meant for Sekireis to be superhuman. So even
But
after
wait, there's more.
So even after 5,000 years plus of breeding with just normal humans, he still had enough genetic material in him from the Sekireis that he could be raised above normal humanity. So whatever genetics they pass on are quite dominant in terms of the hierarchy.
Well, not just dominant, right? But like I said, the other thing is, right? Let's pretend for a second, right? Frame it in the terms of elves. They're not Tolkien elves. They won't live forever.
Right.
But they're generic
Legacy?
fantasy elves. They will live for thousands.
They also
of years,
have obscene
assuming
medical
no
technology.
Yeah, assuming no one stabs them.
Yeah.
Right? They have the ability to produce enough half-breeds that those half-breeds can then go and find genetically dissimilar half-breeds, and you'll end up with something that's 3/4. Right? 3/4 of
Yeah, so like
Sekirei,
you're
3/4
diluting
of
it,
elf.
but it's not going to be a dilution enough that it's going to really kill your species off. And then, but that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I was that like I couldn't read the Yuri Sekirei story because I was just like,
Yeah, the canon Yuri Sekirei is kind of sad. Then there's the canon gay homo Sekirei. What's his name? Musu.
Yeah, one of the original like top tier ones.
Yeah, that was also
Yeah,
kind of
what was
depressing.
it?
I don't really enjoy stories that just have focus on either whatever the fuck her name is or Mutsu. They're not interesting, and I'm not interested in their plot lines.
Akitsu?
What's the one that? What was the one that
Cloth
was?
Girl.
Was it
Yeah,
Yume?
Oh,
Something like
Yume.
What's the one
That's
that wasn't?
not
not
that-
It's not Yume.
What's the one that got turned into a
Chico?
girl because they bonded a guy?
That's
Oh,
Homura.
Yeah, that's Homura.
Amuro
and
was genetically unstable, if I remember correctly.
as
so he was
as
literally in
far
a
as
weird
I'm
spot.
aware, he was originally a she ? In the
Yes.
lore.
Homura's nature was weird just because they were genetically apparently the genetics were unstable, so they could literally
They
flip
were
flop between
genetically
gender.
unstable because they were literally turned into a guy by genetical tampering.
Yeah, they went
Right.
fucking around with the genes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Huh. I
Well,
was aware of
they
that
didn't
detail.
fuck around with the
That's-
genes. They used the
So-
Sekirei magical items to do it and didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, which is a large part of why Homura is like, I'm going to murder as many of you as I can get away with if you happen to cross me in the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Oh boy.
It's Uzume that's the cloth wielding one.
yeah, Uzume, yeah. But no, specifically this was a Yuri main character self-insert story. And I was kind of just like, it's QQ, and so a large portion of the story was obviously going to be about the sex. And I was kind of just like, I'm not interested in the sex, and I'm not interested in this Yuri plotline where she collects a whole harem of girls, and I'm kind of just like, that's a little bit too depressing for me to read.
And none of them will ever breed.
Serious question: if they have hyper advanced medical technology, why don't they just remove their eggs and engage in rapid reproduction in the most efficient way possible?
Because that would require the author actually
Yeah.
thinking about that and having the hyper advanced tech company actually be altruistic and help them instead of the idiot running it, turning it all into a fucking
Death game.
Also,
Yes,
question mark, the AI on the ship actually is basically a murder bot? Question mark.
No, I don't think so.
That's why I added a lot of question marks in there. I can never...
Also, like, half the tech only responds to Mia anyway.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I remember
It
the first
responded
time.
to Mia or whoever's the head Sekirei, which was I think Masube at the end of the series.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to any of that shit.
I remember getting like halfway through Sekirei and being like, why do I like this show so much? And being like, oh, I'm
Yes.
lonely.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't watch Sekirei. Like, I got halfway through the series and I'm just kind of just like, why am I watching this show? And I just never picked it up again.
Yeah, like that's what I was like.
picked it
Why
up
am I
at
watching
some
this?
cost.
Yeah.
I think I just picked up the manga just to see it to the end, and then I initially liked the series, but it wasn't horrible, wasn't great. It was just kind of it existed.
There was so much wrong with that.
I liked the idea in general, the broad strokes of the idea. I thought it was an interesting premise. I, of course, will forever never forgive the Japanese for this, of putting in, again, your bland, spineless, useless,
Herbivore
dense,
male.
stupid herbivore of a pink flesh blob known as the main Japanese male protagonist, who just has everything thrown into his lap by simply existing, and everything always works out because he kissed a girl and she liked it.
Hilariously.
I think what was the worst part was that like it took so long for him to effectively get his ass in gear as a character, because like it took till like near the
Yeah,
end.
it took
here,
so
I'd say,
long
before-
because he was fucking written to be literally this blob on the ground that does nothing and contributes nothing, because they were trying to like pander to these weak Japanese men, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we actually have to have main character fucking do something in our story so we can actually get somewhere with it."
Yeah. So Sayo is hilariously the exact opposite of that. He's the masculine one. He's the one who goes and does things. He's the one who has the power to control the Sekirei when he touches them to nullify their powers, and everyone fucking hates him because he's not a blob.
Pretty much.
What I was gonna say was, I found a light novel, called "The NPCs in This Village Sim Must Be Real." They're running out of titles over in Japan, but the actual premise, I actually really like it because it starts up. It hit a little too close to home because it starts off with a guy who has he failed out of college. He's living with his parents, and he's kind of a useless deadbeat, and he's a shut-in who's depressed as shit.
And then he gets Pisacad?
Nope, he doesn't.
Nope.
I know what I was talking about. Good premise.
It's a
Strong
really
start.
great premise. So he finds, and he has like no money. He has an okay gaming PC that he won in a contest a couple years ago, and he's like, yeah, pretty much the only way I get stuff anymore is by just constantly like entering raffles and shit. So when a random computer game shows up that he doesn't remember entering for, he's just like, yeah, whatever. This is a contest I signed up for, or a beta I signed up for, and he starts playing it. And it seems like your standard village survival sim, and it tells him that he's a god, and it tells him that his main way to interact with it is to write a prophecy every day to these villagers, and he's the god of luck. And it very quickly goes from there where he starts, right? He actually is, he's not actually a god, but he's being allowed to use godlike powers to influence this world. And he goes from being a deadbeat to he gets a real job because he wants to buy more microtransactions to make their lives better and to help take care of them.
Ew.
It's
No,
literally like reading a manga if the manga was about some dude watching a VTuber.
No, even worse, some
No.
dude gets a job to spend his money on microtransactions on a fucking game. No.
No, it's not a game. That's the point.
Does he ever
It's
find
not
that
a
I get
out?
what you're saying,
Yes,
Okay.
he does.
Okay.
No, like they go through it in a logical fashion where the whole reason he starts to care is because, right, he can go through their conversation logs. He can see what they're doing, right? And he starts going from this is right from wow, this must be some really advanced AI to there is literally no way this can be AI because one of them literally asks God for relationship advice. Like the questions they ask and the conversations they have, he's like, okay, right? He spends a bunch of time going, this can't be real. This can't be real. I'm going crazy. And then he figures out, no, this really has to be real, because he gets them to the point where they can afford to build an altar for God. It's not a big altar, but it's a little one. And they put some meat on there, and then he gets a package with the meat.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, they start sending him shit?
Yes, because he's God. They're making offerings to God.
No. They send him shit from their world and it ends
Yes.
up in his world.
Yes.
Trees, meat, a lizard egg.
Send me gold.
No, that's part
You
of his
sacrifice
part of them
gold.
showing his growth as a person is he doesn't ask them for a bunch of shit they don't have. He doesn't send them herring off to go grab a bunch of
Sacrifice
shit.
all your virgins to me.
Yeah.
Send yes.
No, like part of his character growth is that he doesn't do. He's like, right? Obviously, he writes it in it, right? He literally goes, okay, I got to make this sound good, but he's like, yeah, life is hard. Don't go out of your way. Send me meat, send me wood, send me things that you have as thanks. Don't go out trying to find things you don't have.
Interesting. Yeah, drop that link in one of the sections, and you know what?
Just because it's not a fan fiction.
Oh, I know.
So.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Drop it in whatever section. You know what? We should follow that up with. We should follow that up with this fanfic we've been having right in front of us this whole time. I just wanted people to really base themselves in everything of this fanfic. That's why I let this discussion go on for so long, because we've read True Child of Chaos before.
Oh, not this.
We've read this story before, and the author has decided, as of October 31st, that True Child of Chaos needs a V2. They need to rewrite the idea into something else. And by something else, I mean just a worse version of what they already wrote.
What genre? What
Percy Jackson.
series? Oh God.
Yes. Yeah. An alternative timeline. Another life. A new destiny. Percy has a fate greater than any other in the entire universe, and any other universe that exists. Born from the creator Chaos herself, and adopted by Order. Order isn't a god. In the Greek pantheon, Chaos is a god. Order is not a god. That's actually a very important part of Greek philosophy. There is no god that will bring order onto the world.
I thought the entire point was that they all brought order of a different kind.
Exactly. They each god had their, I'm not gonna say niche, but more like their authority, their realm. They controlled
Domain.
their domain. Yeah, there we go. Their domain that they controlled. They ordered it the way they saw fit. There was no overarching god of order that would bring true order to everything. You had to deal with Zeus when you had to deal with the storms. You had to deal with Poseidon when you had to deal with the seas. And the seas weren't orderly. They were whatever Poseidon's mood was. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
But there is an overarching god of chaos.
Yes. Because life is chaos.
Fair.
Yeah. Like I said, it's important to the Greek philosophy. So this is already hyper cringe. It's cringe for being a V2 and still having this in it as well. Poseidon also, for whatever reason, adopts Percy. This is like, oh yeah, the one true God exists. I'm his son. Also, the one true darkness exists and has adopted me. Also, the president of Brazil has adopted me. A little bit of a difference between the first two and that last one. You know what I mean?
No, there's absolutely no difference between them. How dare you say that?
You're right. The president of Brazil is clearly Hyper Hitler. Is separated from his mother the first day he was brought into this world. His life is off to a rough start. What challenges will he face? So, I'm more concerned about what fucked Chaos.
Chaos is capable of parthenogenesis. Chaos isn't just chaos and randomness. It's the primordial non-existent.
I'm aware, but the problem here is that Percy Jackson is still a demigod.
Spoiler, it was Zeus. Oh, wait, no. A demigod? Oh, that'd be a human.
Yes. That's kind of my point with this story, is if Chaos parthenogenized herself, like she does to the rest of the Greek pantheon in PJO, Order is the super god in Egyptian mythology. Yes, but that's a different pantheon's lore.
I mean, Sneaky, I think you're asking, can God make a rock so heavy that he cannot lift it? I think it's one of those things where if an absolute creator God says, yes, I am doing this, do not question it, I think they're probably arbitrarily powerful enough that they can do whatever they want, you know?
Yes, that is true, but then how did Percy get taken away from Chaos if Chaos didn't will it?
Oh, counterpoint here. Somebody nutted up and had the stones on them to stick his dick in the craziest of the crazies.
Yeah, literally, or alternatively, some bard fucked literally the definition of crazy.
Yes.
I mean, y'all have played D&D before. You 100% know they do that.
Oh,
100%.
I know.
Absolutely.
That's why we brought it up. And then more than that, somehow adopted by order, which may or may not be the Egyptian god and Poseidon.
No, Poseidon doesn't share. Like, that's too much, bro. If you're gonna do this thing, you could do, chosen one, child of the primordial creator shit. Like, you have a destiny, you are now a pawn of fate. Nothing you ever do will ever be your own choice. You were created for this. You can do a story about that.
Oh yeah, totally.
It can be good, but no, don't. Parenthood isn't like a stock portfolio, man. You don't go around saying, "I want this."
Oh
one,
fucking Christ! Are you aware of what happens in the PEJO section?
No.
They
I'm really
absolutely treat Parenthood as a fucking stock portfolio.
not. All right.
We I remember one
no.
story we covered previously where Percy was a demigod, but he had 2 godly parents and a human parent, and then he was adopted by another 2 gods, and adopted by a titan, and adopted by a god of another pantheon. So, quote-unquote, technically, he had access to all of those gods' powers because they did the abracadabra blood ritual. And he magically has the blood of all of those parents in him now.
Bullshit.
And that's why he was able to do bullshit stuff from the very start, because they all trained him in all of their powers so he could kill the Greek gods or something, question mark.
Look, I mean, to be perfectly honest, they probably have it coming. I mean, they're gods.
Oh, the Greek gods always have it coming.
But if you're talking about like adoption by a deity, that usually means ascension into godhood. That's not something small.
Yeah, except consider the following: the authors of PJO stories are retarded.
Sure, I mean, I've got a PGO Harry Potter crossover. I thought that was fun.
I stand by my statement.
I wanted to make Albus, fucking turn the Whomping Willow into an ant and then ride it into battle. But no, I mean, if you're writing a story with deities in general, then you have to deal with the fact you're obviously you have a high base power level for whatever the setting is. They're gods. But when you start playing Build-A-Bear, you just throw all the fun out of the story. You know how it's gonna end.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where you've got to look at this, and if you're writing a story, you got to see, is this really worth it? I really want to do this.
Don't worry, it's about to get 300 times worse.
Oof.
Separated from his mother the first day he was brought into this world, his life is off to a rough start. What challenges will he face? This is a Percy Jackson times Artemis times Zoe times Hestia story. Of course it is, obviously. And it takes place starting in the year 1960 on planet Aguilera, orbiting VY Canis Major.
Huh?
Yes.
Sorry, what?
This is currently taking place on a different planet.
But why?
Is that canon to the Percy Jackson universe?
No.
Of course not.
Then what the actual fuck?
Well, you see, the author has to have a reason as to why Percy doesn't completely derail all of the stations of plot that they want to occur from the original Percy Jackson series. So Percy can't be on the planet, which is, don't get me wrong, an incredible amount of foresight for an author. But it's sort of like, how best to put this? It's sort of like pouring gasoline on a fire, so it will start quicker because it's raining out. And then you realize far too late that there's actually just a giant hole in the gas can and it's been leaking everywhere for the past 5 minutes. And then you still strike the match and you light it all.
So pure retardation.
Yeah, incredible amounts of foresight, but pure retardation.
A serious question: does it have like fate in it or anything? Because fate has the Greek gods being aliens and shit.
No, there's no fate. Also, no, technically the Greek gods aren't aliens. They're only aliens in that AU.
Okay.
Yeah. Because fate works off of the multi-universe bullshittery.
I mean, that in and of itself sounds like that would be like a whole story. Like, the Greek gods are aliens. That's like a whole thing, you know?
Yeah, kind of like they might have done it with a movie where they went to the stars through some sort of a gate.
Nah!
Oh, hey, man, Stargate's what's up, man. Stargate is based. I fucking love Stargate.
I love Stargate because it's such a juxtaposition to Star Trek. Hello, we are Americans. Your gods are false. Here, take these guns.
It's great.
Oh, man. I was actually watching the earlier episodes, and I wish they had kept the more the greater diversity of cultures. You know, they've got like the Mongols, and they've got like the Vikings, and they've got all this shit instead of just the mainly Egyptian gods, and then the two Chinese deities. I wish they had really branched out. You know, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, the Egyptians were safe to demonize at the time.
No kidding. You couldn't make Stargate today.
Yeah. Oh, God. How dare you say that white people could get enslaved? Oh.
Well, it's probably part of the reason why they keep having problems bringing it back. They want to do another, either a reboot or a new season.
Yeah, right.
But
on planet Aguilera, there is a building so tall, it was built taller than the clouds.
So tall it was built taller than the clouds.
Yep. In fact, it was the tallest building ever on the supermassive planet because that made the building even taller. But on the very top floor of the super tall building on the massive planet that made the building even taller was a simple office. Its walls were made of glass. The walls were made of glass.
Pro tip for any author.
Yeah.
Sapphire is way harder than glass, and if you've got like magic or advanced tech, you can very easily fabricate clear sapphire.
Sapphire is fucking cool.
It is.
They actually use synthetic sapphire for phone front cases. The little anti-scratch cases you put on the front of phones.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but putting a tall building on a supermassive planet doesn't make it taller because height is measured from the ground.
Yeah, but it's a big building on a massive planet.
That doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't make the building any fucking taller by putting it on a big planet.
But it's a big building on a massive planet. The walls were made of glass, giving a perfect view of the entire planet. You know, above the clouds.
Past the curve of the planet?
Well,
they're flat earthers.
Yeah, apparently this earth is flat.
Legolas, what do your eyes see?
They see your mom getting railed by an orc, bitch.
I mean,
Oh damn.
honestly, I feel sorry for the orc.
Indeed. But no, it's even funny because it's like all the walls are made of glass, so therefore they could see the planet even better. It's like you built the skyscraper taller than the clouds.
So you're just sitting at the top of the cloud like
So all you can see is clouds. It's like, oh wow, you fucking morons.
well, okay, maybe it's a clear day.
No, I think they explicitly mentioned the clouds, didn't they?
I mean, they specifically mentioned it was higher than the clouds it was built around. Like an emperor's throne of its subjects. But in the office instead was a woman.
Oh, base. Women don't belong in Emperor's thrones.
She's a girl, okay.
I don't think the author meant to do that, but that's still fucking hilarious. It was a lot like an emperor's throne, allowing them to view their subjects, but instead of that, there was a woman.
So I'm supposed to sit on this woman's lap. Okay, I'm okay with this. She must be a big old bitch.
Oh god, she was staring at a holographic screen in the 1960s on planet Aguilera.
Magic. Alien magic.
One glance was enough to make anyone stop in their tracks and gaze in awe. She was so beautiful, even wives who were gonna smack their husbands for gazing at her because male abuse is based. Thanks, author.
I really wish one time they would just make someone incredibly ugly and genuinely develop them as a character.
But if she not hot, why is she important?
So you're telling me her value is intrinsically linked to her beauty?
I'm not telling you that. Society is.
Or at least this author is.
Yeah, also there's that as well. The women who were gonna smack their husbands because spousal abuse is based, were also drooling at how hot she was. Because apparently all women are also bisexual. Her appearance was absolutely flawless because it had no blemishes or wrinkles.
That is the very definition of flawless.
Her
Wouldn't it just
skin,
kinda look like a doll?
you would, except she also had a slight tan, as if she was kissed by the sun.
That's a blemish.
Yeah, that's a blemish.
It's true, it's a blemish. See, this is why I prefer like the Dresden Files, which, by the way, Sneaky, thank you for linking that the Tanya one.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly I think my most pleasant surprise from all that was like, holy shit, it's not dead. Sneaky linked a story that's not dead yet.
Yeah, I know, right?
In Dresden?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Tanya in Dresden. It's very funny. At one point, she gets attacked by a vampire, and because she went to the Chicago School of Economics, she was wearing a Chicago School of Economics t-shirt, and the Chicago School of Economics logo on the t-shirt killed the vampire because she believed in the Chicago School of Economics so much.
Well, no, it's her faith in economics and rationalism that does it, obviously, not specifically the Chicago School of Economics.
Well,
I think that's whether it's like the school itself is just so fucking autistically dedicated to economics.
She literally later on she literally carves the Chicago School of Economics logo into the side of her gun, and it blesses her gun with anti-vampire powers.
Yes.
God. Yeah, where's a link to this? I need a link.
He already, it's in the fanfiction or writing section.
Yeah, I linked it a little while back, but no one posts there, so it's still basically right there.
Yeah. Anyway, but, listen, that book gets one thing right. Like, right? Wow, why is everyone turning their head? Because it's supernatural.
Yeah.
They are literally being forced to.
Beyond
it is
natural.
because there's magic making them go, damn. Damn.
Saying it's a charm.
Yeah.
No, a charm does not cover it. Like,
It's a compulsion.
Yeah.
Mind control.
Yeah, that's a charm. That is a charm spell.
Isn't
Sure,
that
yeah.
in PKO 2? Don't like the Daughters of Aphrodite? Don't they do that passively?
Oh yeah, no, the Daughters of Aphrodite and PJO also passively brainwash everyone around them to be attracted to them.
well, not just the
Yeah,
daughters,
yeah,
but
yeah.
all the children of Aphrodite. Right, but take that and crank it up to 11.
Yeah. Anyway,
No.
let's see. Her black hair fell down to the middle of her back and gleamed, not gleamed, gleamed. With an N. Like an obsidian
okay.
waterfall. Like an obsidian waterfall. Author, what the fuck is an obsidian waterfall?
You know what? Something that I'd kind of like to go see.
Yeah.
I would
I
like
would-
to go see
I
that
would not.
behind
That-
plexiglass with a fucking
Yeah.
hazard suit on.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying to just go watch completely unprotected.
You make a valid
Isn't it-
point. I still want to see it, though.
It sounds like, a fucking diamond showers on Venus or some shit or wherever it is.
Yeah.
A diamond
Yeah,
rain,
that's what it
yeah.
was.
Oh god.
Going sneaky.
Huh?
You make it tolerable. Keep going, man.
Yeah. The gleam of Aguilera's 3 moons. Oh, so the moons are gleaming, but her hair is gleaming.
Yes.
Her hair understands.
I mean, that could be like a pretty cool conceptual thing.
That my hair knows
Like
more
the
than you.
Seed of wisdom from Norse mythology or something,
I tie a lock of hair around your pinky finger, and now you're smarter.
Yeah.
There you
yeah.
go.
The gleam of Aguilera's 3 moons gave her hair an otherworldly glow. Well, otherworldly as in otherworldly to Aguilera? Or otherworldly to Earth? Because if we're talking about otherworldly from Aguilera's perspective, then it literally is another world.
Otherworldly doesn't necessarily literally mean from another world. It also means ethereal.
Which means not from this world.
Yes, but not from this world doesn't necessarily mean not from this world in the literal sense, so much as it could mean. Fuck it, I'm done with that.
But the numbers, Mason, what do they mean?
Fuck off.
Her legs were the envy of every woman in the entire universe. I'll bet hidden under the black dress and only partly revealed by a slit in the side, they made people seemingly want to grovel in front of them. And
I was hoping you were joking about the all bet thing. but
He
they
was
actually misspelled
not.
they,
Did you say gravel in front of them?
yes,
Not grovel, gravel.
it says
Yes,
gravel.
This sounds like it'd be a very lonely existence. Constantly
Um,
taking control of the minds of everyone around you, driving them to envy and madness.
Yes.
That sounds pretty horrific.
Yeah. She wore no fancy jewelry as there was no need for any. Wow, based author here just coming out with take after take saying that women are ugly so they need fancy jewelry to cover it up.
Spot the lie.
This fucking author. Only earrings that seem to be fashioned out of darkness itself and even take in even more by moment hung from her ears.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What? The fuck? Gracing her smile was perfect lip. Many she would give up
One.
everything,
One-
even their soul.
I'm pretty sure having just one lip is a blemish, boys.
A hair lip.
I told you, this poor lady is definitely cursed.
Just to get a kiss.
So,
Her stunning face was quite literally perfection. Mortals could not even look at her face in fear of becoming a slave to her whims, all for one glance. But the thing that caught the most attention, of course, were obviously her eyes. You know, not the
Of
literal
course.
soul-stealing lips, or the enslaving face, or the graveling legs. No, clearly, if you manage to not pay attention to any of those things, what you would be captivated by is her eyes. Because she had eyes of deep sapphire. I'm just kidding.
killing me.
Now that sounds pretty metal. You know, pluck someone's eyes out, replace them with actual precious stones. That's pretty heavy metal, man.
I mean, I know of, what story? I was reading a fan fiction where they actually did that. But it worked out because the precious gem could then channel magic.
Yeah, that's actually an Ari Ferretta.
Yeah.
I'm kind of imagining like a heavy metal album cover where like these throngs of starving, degenerate slaves worship at the feet of this like inhuman, twisted goddess that's so perfect it destroys your mind to look upon her.
You know, it sounds like a fantastic setting for Jack Black to show up in. And play some rock and roll to free the people.
Damn it, Sneaky.
Bust out the bridge with a metal.
God, that game was actually good. It had no right to be.
Twisted Metal.
No,
Yeah.
fucking,
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend, there we go.
Legend, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've never
Game was
never
amazing.
played it, but I've heard it was good.
Honestly, it's got very low replay value, but it was fun. The first playthrough was fun.
I think it knew what it was, and it did what it did very well.
I think that's specifically because they had Jack Black in it, and Jack Black knew exactly how to be what he was.
Jack Black is, in my opinion, one of my favorite musicians, one of my favorite artists. I like him a lot.
Wait, Ozzy Osbourne? Yeah, baby! God fucking
Oh man.
Get on the crazy train! Oh, fucking
My
hell.
favorite part about that was that they just fucking walked up. Like, I'm sure Jack Black just walked the fuck up to Ozzy Osbourne.
It's like, yo, do you want to be in a movie about heavy metal and video games?
And Ozzy said, fuck yeah.
No, Ozzy said, fuck yeah.
I watched his reality TV show. He actually talks really well about Jack Black.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually like pleasant acquaintances or something. So that's actually really cool.
Honestly, the boss fights were actually really fun in Brutal Legend. Like, weirdly fun.
Especially in something like an action adventure, you know?
It was an action adventure rhythm game while you were driving. Yeah! It was an open world, driving, rhythm-based action adventure that had RTS moments.
Also, it had flying sections, so you had to move in 3 dimensions too.
Okay.
There was like, it just ran down the list of a game that shouldn't fucking work. And then it
Do you have a
did.
turret section?
Huh?
Does it have a turret section?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, it's got everything, man.
It was from that time.
Yeah. Like, there was a moment in the game where you have to go fight a giant metal thread weaving spider with blade legs because you needed new guitar strings.
Yeah, that makes entirely. That makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
And so
Yeah.
you had to
Where
like
else would you get the best
you had to, like-
I just looked it up. What the fuck?
Yeah, baby.
It's a special game.
It was a special game.
Even the story though was actually legitimately good, and it has a genuinely good gut punch moment,
Yeah.
which I respect.
Yeah, Othala was a good moment.
It's a lot better than a game like that has any right to be.
It
Yeah,
really
I'm
was.
glad.
I was not expecting any of that from that game, and then it all worked. Like, I never sat down the game and I was like, fuck this game. It's like too hard. It's boring section. Like, I wanted to beat it. Yeah. Yeah. The fucking blade spider, baby.
Oh man,
That is a thing.
I remember this so fondly. I think I rented this from Blockbuster or something.
I rented it from Blockbuster.
Shit, man. Or no, it was Hollywood Video. It was Hollywood Video because we had the Hollywood Video right down the corner. I remember it now.
Fucking hell. This was such a game.
He has an axe and an axe.
Yes.
Damn
Yes.
straight.
He slays and slays.
That's what do you think it's for? You know.
It is an experience. I 100% recommend playing it, possibly with a controller, but still play it at least once. It's like $10, $5 sometimes on Steam, so you can probably pick it up even cheaper on GOG or G2G.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, back to the story though. The point you're making at this is purple prose. This is a massively overdeveloped female character. It's
Well, not only is it purple prose with a massively overdeveloped female character, it's setting up this female character to live one of the loneliest existences in reality.
Mhm.
Not because she's powerful, which, again, if you were some sort of all-powerful deity, which I assume we're leading up to this being chaos, couldn't you just change your looks to not be brainwashingly beautiful?
Yeah, but then she wouldn't be brainwashingly beautiful.
Right, but what I'm saying is if you don't like being brainwashingly beautiful...
It's fridge horror, you know? Is you've talked someone up so much that they're so over the top, but it would be genuinely hellish to experience this.
Yeah. So anyway, it gets worse. Because her eyes. Her eyes were a shimmering blackness that represented a swirling galaxy inside each eye.
Oh my god, shut up.
They were so mesmerizing that you could never look away, and by looking at them, you would spend hours looking at them, and then you would probably die. That
Well,
is,
it's
if you
fucking
weren't
stupid
driven
writing.
to complete obedience by the rest of her looks alone. The black dress she wore did very little to hide her perfect proportions, and the author is about to go into in-depth detail about the size of each boob and areola.
Somehow not understanding that flat is justice.
I mean, it's not even that. It's this dude's just telling us his kinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
Yeah.
bro,
As we're fond of saying, the developers barely concealed fetish.
shit, like I'm
I
not
will
gonna tell you.
I
I'm
will
gonna
not
have
forgive
to-
the WoW devs for what they did in Shadowlands.
What do they do in Shadowlands?
They made an entire faction of giant, thick, tomboy fitness women.
Oh
that-
God.
And all of their faction quests revolved around them picking you up and moving you to other places with their hands.
Okay, I'm not gonna even.
I mean, I suppose
But
it's
it's
gonna
kick.
work.
I'm glad that's what gets Gray to speak up.
Literally, like,
abomination.
no,
Hi,
Gray
Gray.
and I were in a voice chat. The fucking game comes out, and I'm just like, Gray, I have found one of the developers' fetishes.
I really don't have a whole lot to say to that, but I do gotta say,
And unlike Sneaky, I did all 4 of the
Yeah.
Covenant quest lines.
Oh yeah, one of the
It
fucking
was
quests.
horrible.
One of the fucking quest lines was just straight up furry shit. It was
What?
all
Yes.
furry shit.
I'm completely unsurprised.
You
Funny,
were saying?
Lives is just furry shit.
Yeah. I know how
What I was gonna
interested
say
you
was-
are right now.
So, Google knows that at some point in my life, I was Blizzard's mind slave and played WoW.
Sure.
And so showing me ads for Dragon.
I might get back
Dragon
into it for
whatever?
Dragonflight, honestly.
Listen, no, Sneaky. Their big marketing gimmick is skill trees are back.
Yeah, as someone who enjoyed the peak of Wrath of Lich King, that's the
Yes.
selling point for
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry. I don't have an issue with I don't have an issue with skill trees. My issue is their attempt to get me back is, guys, we finally unfucked it. No thanks.
Guys, we're giving you back the thing we took away from you because we wanted to make it easy, and now we're taking the chaining wheels back off.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, sorry, I have no fucking interest in going back to your video game if that's your pitch for me.
look, it's for the past 3 expansions, they've been covering up a growing pile of feces by spraying it with Febreze and spray painting it gold. This time around, their selling point is, guys, we've cleaned up the feces. All right, fair enough.
We dug down and exposed a nugget in the feces.
No, see, that's the thing, though. It's like, there's no big, oh, look, you can join a new super faction and get the hyper cool cosmetic, or you get the super extra ultra legendary weapon, or you wear the blood of the planet on you. Like, there's no big, flashy
literally-
neon sign selling point this time around. It's literally, guys, we fixed it. Also, we added more dragon riding mounts, and they go 3 times faster.
Oh, they did have a new playable race, though, in those dragon people. Ugly dragon scalies.
They're fucking. I know, it's a goddamn scaly conspiracy. Fucking furries. I swear to God, they ruin everything.
Yep.
Triple Sneaky. They have money. They rule everything behind the scenes.
The
I know.
reptilians, yes.
The reptilians,
furries.
goddamn, ruin everything. They're controlling it behind the scenes, and they didn't want us to know. But goddamn it, I won't stay silent anymore.
Are they turning the fucking
Sneaky, are they
gay?
turning the frogs gay?
They absolutely are turning the frogs gay. They turned the foxes into people.
God damn it!
Yes,
that's
they
called
did.
Red Guard.
They turned the frogs gay. They turned the foxes into people. Now they're winning fighting game tournaments. Damn it!
Indeed, exactly. All of these prescription drugs, they're just trying to get to your children.
I mean, I don't have children, so I'm not worried about that. But like, if I could just like, let's pretend for a moment that I have children. Someone's made the mistake of entrusting me with children. I wouldn't mind getting them turned into animals, so I never have to deal with them again.
Ooh.
Generally, you like your children, or at least love them.
Oh man.
I love my children enough to know that they should never exist.
I'm just gonna say, bro, don't do yourself down like that. You know, sometimes you're your own worst critic, but at least care about your kids. You know.
I do. That's why they'll never exist.
Don't worry, his sperm count's too low to reproduce anyway.
They don't need to do business anymore. They are.
Where did you?
I'm reading your.
I have several questions. I do not desire answers.
Yeah, Nose told me.
Nose doesn't. Why the fuck would Nose know?
I don't know.
Did she poop again?
What did I hear?
Did he poop again? Nose shouts as he walks away from the computer.
I desperately hope he's referring to his dogs and not his younger sibling. But given what I know of his younger sibling, it could be either.
It's probably the sibling.
It's possibly the sibling. But anyway, so yes, this perfect lady with the perfect face has one single perfect lip.
It's that dick sucking lip.
It's the singular dick sucking lip.
Please no.
I'm feeling kind of bad for this lady at this point. She's just kind of like.
She thinks it's entrancing beauty. What it is, in fact, is the horror that human beings feel and the servitude they wish upon themselves when gazing upon the unknowable horror of Cthulhu.
Indeed. And, yeah, of course I called it This is Chaos. Blah, 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 lovingly gaze at the hologram, scenes from Earth, child running around. Blah, 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 she loved children so much. When she created the primordials, it only lasted a day. They grew into adults in a week. Chaos, are you here? She let out an eep and fell onto the floor.
Really? An eep.
Yeah, she let out a girlish eep.
Actually, this could make like a great horror scene, like two gods LARPing as humans and just getting it just wrong enough that it terrifies you.
Yes.
You know?
So Order shows up, and by the way, Order is in fact not from any other pantheon. They've invented their new OC. Do not steal. His name is Order.
That's just, this person doesn't understand Greek mythology. They're not even trying to make it horny. They just don't understand it.
For the creator of the universe, I never expected you to eep. Tell me why you're here before I hurt you, because remember guys, spousal abuse is funny.
Yes.
Please.
Well, I was here to talk about some matters with Chaos Corp.
Okay, so it's a corporation that controls everything and makes everything shit. All right, based again.
I have a feeling that isn't something you want to hear now. What's gotten into you? You've been acting differently. Brother, I feel empty inside.
Most unfortunately.
Please
Also,
don't say
actually,
that.
that's another
Please don't write
base
those lines. Those lines have been ruined. Please never write those lines.
The lines are only ruined because you know Gura.
Well, yes, but also I know the internet.
That's also fair.
That's actually a genuinely based take, though. You know, children are what fulfills you.
Yes, like I said, this author, I'm pretty sure, is having unintentionally extremely based takes.
Like most of the left.
Yeah. There is nothing for me to care for anymore. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
The world is having an existential crisis.
Nothing holds meaning to me without my children. And she starts crying. Hey there, it's okay for you. What about that planet that has life on it? With all of your creations? That single planet?
They killed themselves and all the rest of them.
Yeah, they invented something called nuclear weapons 20 years ago.
Just then a servant walked into the room, but then Order glared at him, and it made the servant freeze in fear and nearly piss himself, but he got the message and left the room. Thankfully, his bladder was safe, too.
What is with deities and why not a simple, Fred, could you come back later?
Or, you know, snapping your fingers and making sure the mere mortals can't just come into the room at the moment?
or
Or
even just
snapping fingers and teleporting them away.
Yeah, or there's a lot of things you could do besides glaring at someone who's dedicated their entire life to serving you, because
and making them soil themselves. Which, let's be clear, you're trying not to cause an incident and get noticed. I'm pretty sure the smell of ammonia is going to get noticed.
Yeah. They are able to take care of themselves. The gods are able to help when needed, and it's more or less self-sufficient without me. My children don't need me anymore, she cries.
She's literally just having a midlife crisis.
She's literally having a
Yeah,
midlife
okay.
crisis
You know
over
what?
not having kids.
Hang
yes.
on, because this is garbage. I would actually really like to see, like Japanese RPG style, a story where the characters are out to kill God, not because God is doing anything particularly horrible, but God leaves the problems just broken enough that people still need to pray for him and that he feels useful.
Oh, so being X.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I mean, without being actively malicious, like being
That
X
is
actively malicious.
no, that's
He's not-
quite
he's
literally
not.
the definition of actively malicious. If you are in control of the problems and you are causing the problems to be just problems enough that people are forced to turn to you for help solely so you can benefit from them turning to you for help, that is the definition of being malicious.
Well, okay, yeah, but he's also
Fine,
actively.
what I want him to be unintentionally malicious.
So what,
Well-
like some sort of greater good, chess master Dumbledore horseshit, where he doesn't realize he's being evil because he's just trying to give them a challenge?
Kind of.
That's
Less
completely
intense,
unmotivating.
More bumbling incompetence. Like
Bumbling incompetence from the being
So
that created
Persona
reality.
3.
It's just Preacher.
there we go. Persona 3, yes, also sneaky. Listen, it's really not that unquestionable.
No, wait, no. Persona 2.
I thought it was Persona 3.
No, it's
Whatever.
Persona 2 is the one with the fucking idiot god who's just like, I'm going to let this god do something really malicious. It'll help people.
Persona 3 is where death wants to manifest on reality and kill
And it
it.
also has some of the best
yeah.
soundtrack.
I mean,
Burn My Dread is fucking amazing. I will not tolerate any slander.
I tried to play the Persona
It's
games, but
I
whatever
was just
Persona
gonna say, I
game
think
I was
Persona
trying to
5 has a
play,
stronger soundtrack overall.
Well, yes, but
Max as my witness, I couldn't play it. I physically could not play it. It wasn't even like a choice on my end.
Oh,
The
it was
game,
Persona. It was P4 Golden because I
Yeah.
sent that to you. So I'm like,
the
Sneaky
game
appreciates
would
decent
not
writing.
play.
Yeah, despite it,
What-
I
being
would
a good
boot it
port.
up and it would crash. I would boot it up again. I would get 3 seconds into the cutscene. It would crash. I would boot it up again. I got a minute into the cutscene. It crashed. I booted it up again. I got through the cutscene. It crashed. I booted it up again. I got through the cutscene and I took 3 steps and it crashed.
Yeah, have you tried that now that you're on a Windows 10 machine? Because that was when you were still on 7, I think.
That was when I was still on 7. Yeah.
Try P5.
No.
No.
No, fuck P5. Go for
P5
P4G.
is, P5R is great.
No,
Yes.
I'm not saying P5's not a good game. It's a great game. I just like Persona 4 Golden better because it does the mystery in a really well done way.
Yeah, but better
Also,
graphics.
the characters are a bit more memorable.
Better
overall.
graphics. Shut up.
Get the
Way
fuck out of
better
here with
But
your
can,
graphic shit.
but
No,
can
no,
I climb the mountain?
First of all, not only is better graphics a dumb argument, second of all, it's not that much better. It's a teeny improvement.
But can I
No,
climb
it's a
the
massive
mountain?
improvement. It is a massive improvement going from P4 to P5. Because it's going from
Ye-
PS2 all the way up to PS4.
Yeah.
technically PS3.
No, the original came out on PS2.
No, PS3.
No, he's
was
talking
Persona
about for
5.
P5 because P5 did have a PS3 release, but it was massively gimped.
Well, that
Yeah, there
was
was that.
going to be
Oh
a
yeah,
fucking
it did have a
PS3.
PS3 release.
No one remembers that.
Because no one's
PS3
playing
was
on
on its last
PS3.
legs.
Wait, there was PlayStations other than the first two?
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Lots of them. They keep making them.
Never
They
knew.
And they
continue
keep
to produce.
cutting price.
Listen. The thing that baffled me the most is the very last Wii game came out in like 2020, in like I think it was like 2020. It was one of the dance games, but it still got a Wii release.
Yeah.
Damn.
You continued on the PS2 until like 2018 or 19.
Yeah.
Anyway. The descriptor you come up with also applies to alphabet soups. How else would the CIA and FBI justify their own existences unless they were causing problems that required people to turn to them to fix them?
Truth.
I mean,
That's unironically right. There was a report released internally from the FBI. There's literally not enough terrorists to meet demand.
White supremacists to meet demand.
Yeah. It turns out they're literally everyone running in the Facebook group that has, the bad numbers and the no-no man is probably literally an FBI agent.
Just like the KKK was made up entirely of FBI.
At one point, yeah.
And the Democrat Party.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Anyway, so they're talking and stuff, and it's dumb and it's boring, and some planets did things, and some planets did other things, and then it hit them like a truck con. Order's favorite way to reincarnate people.
He literally said like a truck coon.
Yes.
What? Jesus Christ, people don't.
Give it away to each other.
Jeez.
Quite literally. Chaos? Do you want a child? He couldn't believe it. She was chaos. She created countless primordials and countless other beings and countless planets. Wasn't that enough? How long have you been like this? How many more children do you want? Don't you already have enough children? Man, this author just continuously shoots off base takes after base takes.
This dude's gonna get called a misogynist or some shit, 100%.
Listen, until I have created a small league of assassins, I have not produced enough progeny.
I thought
Only a small league of assassins?
Well, if you get too large, it'll get found out. And
Alright.
Look, I'm not looking to be Ra's al Ghul here.
So what I'm hearing is that you and Max need to raise your own order of children to form the Crusaders and the Assassins, and then you need to make Assassin's Creed real.
Yes, do it.
Max, you and I must adopt 100 orphans each.
You went from not wanting kids to wanting them real fast all of a sudden.
I mean, if I'm exploiting them for personal gain, that changes the scales, Max.
Oh my god.
Of course.
No, listen. We can make a reality show out of it. What was the movie?
You were just listing stuff that is like, I'm laughing, but it is slowly making me angry.
Let's adopt
No, what's the movie?
200 orphans and then pit them against each other in a shadow war for the control of the U.S. Welcome to Total Drama USA!
No,
yes.
But what's the movie? Oh, what was that damn movie?
Hunger Games?
No, I think he's thinking of the one
where...
where
The one where the guy's entire life is a TV show.
Yeah.
Truman Show.
Truman Show, yeah.
If you haven't watched Truman Show, actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
But yeah, like listen. We take 200 children. We convince them that there has been a global shadow war for control of the fate of mankind going on for a few hundred years, and we raise them up to continue this. And of course, Max will be the kind, wise old leader of the Templars, last survivor of a vicious attack. As will I.
Okay, you know why I'm not going to agree to this? Because when they figure out that we've been lying to them, we're both dead.
You say that the entire Assassin's Creed games is just you putting the information out there in kind of the way Hollywood does for everything they're doing now. You know, bragging.
Yes. Yep. Just letting it happen.
Exactly.
Okay. you raise a good point, Max. So we'll have to wait until we're actually old for this.
Well, alternatively, you can just keep the charade going, and I'm sure eventually they will actually stumble upon the real Shadow Cabals, and, it'll just work out.
No, here's exactly what has to happen, Max. We train them up. And we
Max
remind
and
them
Atin are the final bosses?
I mean, A, that'd be fantastic. But B,
horrible final
no.
boss. What do you mean?
No. Here's what we do, Max. We convince them that they absolutely can, under no circumstances, murder any of the others, because that will get them found out. And then, when they find out we've been lying to them, we go, "Ah, my children, at last you are ready for the truth. There is a shadow war going on. You must join forces to stop it."
And then
That'll
good old
Max,
Final
that'll
Fantasy
buy us
twist on
another
them.
30 years at least.
I have several ethical and moral concerns about this plan.
What could possibly be ethically or morally compromising about using 200 orphans to fight a Shadow Cabal?
child soldiers.
That doesn't exist for our own entertainment.
So what? Is the final boss just going to be Oni?
I mean,
No, the United States government. But wait, only yes.
I mean, you have 200 orphans that you're turning into super soldiers. You can't not make the comparison.
We'll convince them that they have to go find the guns of the Patriot for you, just for you knows.
Oh.
Oh wow.
they must find the Founder's guns, for they unlock the riddle that reveals the conspiracy.
And if they can collect all 384 of the original weaponry, they can assemble them to find the map that will lead them to the Metal Gundam.
No, see, you have to make everything all sevens, and just have everything be a multiple of
Or
seven
threes.
somehow.
The Founders really like the number 3 as well.
Also, just
Just
start stamping the marathon symbol onto random buildings.
Just do it like randomly, and in some points it's actually a thing that they need to do, and it's just like, why are you looking at this building so weird? I swear I fucking.
I appreciate, by the way, that the chat is fully behind my revolutionary entertainment idea.
Indeed.
I'm not sure if that's the endorsement you might be hoping for.
What are you talking about? Chat's
listen.
never wrong.
Listen, I just have to get enough of chat to agree, and I'll be scot-free.
That's not how that works.
Okay, so Max,
I got cut of the money, right?
Max, I know that you have ethical and moral concerns about what Atin is proposing. I suggest the alternative here is you could also let them grow up and be churned through a machine that will turn them into body parts and unthinking drones. Alternatively, Atin's idea would turn them into shadow warriors, who may not be fighting for your own entertainment,
but also reality stars.
No, that sounds like a lot of work.
It would be a lot of work, but however, considering you have absolutely no life otherwise, there really isn't anything else for you to put your work into.
Also, you gotta remember, it is not about the work, my friend. It is about creating a legacy to preserve the future.
I might be getting published soon.
Okay.
Oh, fair enough. We all know Atin would be considered the evil side since he's advocating for more reality TV. Well, yeah, but that just makes my Chaos cult even more funny.
Actually, seriously, would you rather be Hashashin, or would you rather be like Evil Corpo?
Hashishins, obviously.
I mean, there's some appeal to the Evil Corpo, but it's been done too much, and here's the thing. I don't support unfettered capitalism because unfettered capitalism might increase growth over the short and possibly even the medium term. However, over the long term, it leads to a completely unsustainable economic model, similar to what America is experiencing now, with a vastly uneven distribution of wealth. Let's be clear, I'm not saying redistribute the wealth like communists. I'm saying that any and all successful societies require a thriving middle class in order to continue.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basic economics, but somebody didn't learn that lesson.
Probably because it was
And one thing I'll
racist
say is
and
I have
sexist.
to pay for realistic
Yes.
totalitarian communism, and I still haven't gotten pulled off yet. I'm seeing how far I can push it right now.
Yes, but my point is that as good of a cliche as Evil Corpo is, I won't be able to get fully behind it because internally I'll just be screaming, "Oh God!" Right? Like I said, it's about creating a legacy for the future. There is no future with unfettered capitalism.
Right, and that's why I come in with the Chaos Cult, whose main goal is to destroy the stagnancy of the Order of Assassins and Order of Templars.
I see. So what I'm hearing is there's actually 300 orphans.
Yes.
That's great. We can call the show 300.
Get the fuck out.
God.
303. The trilogy.
The 303.
Of course. And of course, each of us will take the most brilliant of the children, the most charismatic, and raise them as our successor. And in the most Fallout-esque reveal possible, upon our death, they'll get access to our video logs that will burden them with the horrifying knowledge, and that they are free, of course, to inform their friends and siblings about the terrifying truth that their lives are a reality show. But are they willing to stomach the guilt of destroying the psyches of all of their friends? Perpetuate the cycle.
Probably.
Okay, I just want you to know. I have read some of the works of Marquis de Sade.
Okay.
And even that's not that fucked up. And he has some stuff in there so grim.
And that's true. Oh, also, for all three of the children, they absolutely have to. All three of the successors absolutely have to be raised on Machiavelli's The Prince, the actual correct interpretation of Machiavelli's The Prince.
I see. We're creating hell on earth. Then I see.
Right now.
No, you don't understand. Machiavelli's The Prince advocates for literally the opposite of everything in his own book.
Oh, the other one. Sorry.
Machiavelli's
The
Prince is about, hey, yes, this is an effective form of. You can be a temporarily effective form of government by being an asshole. It won't work very long.
You just want to be the benevolent dictator or the benevolent evil power behind the scenes in this case.
Yeah, it's a quote that gets frequently maligned. If you must do evil, do it all at once.
Oh man, you know what? I am just gonna go back writing my papers about Nestle poisoning babies. And I'm good with that, man.
You know what? Just for you, I'll make sure that one of the first things we hit is Nestle.
Actually, yeah, no. If you want to go down a target list, I got some free time.
We got like 300 orphans.
Nestle is a blight upon the. Oh, Max! I can raise a little char.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh God!
I am concerned with how you said that.
That's not good because that will eventually end with an asteroid.
Base?
We needed that code.
Do I hear base?
Max, think of the views.
So, Sneaky, just so you know, Char became such a mad lad eco-terrorist.
Yeah.
His final solution.
Yeah.
I mean this in every manner of the word. His final solution for fixing the Earth's climate change issue, which is being, sped up by humans.
Yeah.
Crash an asteroid into it.
Yeah.
All the humans will be wiped out, and the Earth will have like 10,000 years to heal.
Based.
It's like,
let's be clear, he wasn't advocating for the extinction of mankind. He's like, mankind obviously just continues living in the stars.
Well, and he did tell them, like, this is going to happen. You have this many hours to evacuate because we cannot stop this asteroid now.
Based.
I am launching
Good luck.
it. The asteroid is rapidly approaching. You got like 2 weeks. I can't stop this thing, by the way. And then Amuro may or may not have accidentally mind-controlled several hundred mobile suit pilots into dying to stop it.
Yeah.
Wow, that escalated.
I mean,
Really?
we say may or may not have, but every single mobile suit that helped push the asteroid back and help destroy it was glowing green. And people like Amuro are like one in like 10 million type of rare.
Yeah.
So the odds of all of them piloting mobile suits at that exact moment are pretty
Quite slim.
astronomical.
Yes, I see all of these things as my children, but I want something that isn't created with my powers. I want something being birthed out of my womb, finally. For I am hollow without an actual child. I need a man to fill me.
So she get laid.
Okay, is Brother Order about to be the universe's
Yes.
greatest wingman here?
Yeah,
possibly.
Ultimately, he's about to be a real Greek
Either we're gonna have an
stepdad.
amazing wingman, or we're gonna have to play Sweet Home Alabama for the rest of existence.
No. He's just doing what the characters have always done.
For beings such as themselves, this was barbaric to do it, but it was also magical to have a child. He sat there for hours, not responding, thinking of what could happen. I understand. You want a true-born child. Then he gave her a brotherly hug, not to be confused with a normal hug. Sure, she could walk outside to Planet Aguilera, and all of the men would bark like puppies for her to have a child with her, but he would not allow this to take place. Finally, she spoke again. I'm not letting you change my mind about this, but if you want to help, you can choose the man most suitable.
Start the banjos.
Order was at a loss for words, blah, blah, blah. You still there, bro? Hey, bro, you there, bro?
Bro, help, I'm stuck in the washing machine.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, when you say man, I hope you mean the sperm, because I do not want a filthy mortal or god sticking their dick into my sister's vagina.
Also, Chaos is apparently gay, according to this next paragraph.
What?
Oh, she panicked for a second as stray thoughts came to her mind. To be honest, the thought of her and a man was unnatural. The fuck?
And she just wanted to be filled by a man.
Yeah, this is weird. Even if she dumped her charm down to 0, she was still very attractive. Even if they could talk normally, she could only imagine what the first date would be like if she told them how old she was or what she did for a living. Just lie.
You can just...
You wouldn't be the first woman.
Well, also don't have to lie about age. Just say, I don't want to talk about that. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, just let them assume.
Like, as long as you're trying to hook up with a consenting adult, it probably won't matter all that much.
You don't even need to tell him. You can just say, hey, I'm not comfortable sharing that information yet. Why don't we get to know each other a little bit?
Or, you know, you can just
Indeed, what I
just
mentioned,
say
yes.
30s. Just,
I'm sorry.
I'm 25. You know, like, I just got out of college. Like, there's a lot of ways you can just word it to not answer your age.
Yeah.
Conversely, she's a woman. All she needs to say is, I'm horny, wanna fuck?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. I want to do an IVF.
What?
I don't know how I could go on a date and I can't bear to have a child with someone and then have them die of old age. I couldn't stand that feeling. You are literally an omniscient, omnipotent being. You could just snap them to have immortality.
You don't even need to make him immortal. You can make him a god. You could just...
So, yeah, but instead of doing any of that, she wants to sperm jack some guy and turkey baster herself to have a baby.
Yes.
Insanity.
Yes.
I mean, couldn't she just will it into being? So like, I want that.
Yeah, but you see, there's something magical about giving birth to one, even though she didn't go through the process that would normally initiate all of that, and she's just gonna steal the sperm out of a guy that she never meets.
Wait. She's a goddess. She's the incarnation of primordial pre-existence.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have ovum.
Yeah, she does. She said she does, so she has them now.
Gods be like that.
I mean, to be fair, that's perfectly reasonable.
I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's really hyper cringe. Some garbage ass garbage, blah blah blah. I couldn't be fucked to read the rest of this. This is just endless cringe.
Color, nationality, and planet. Holy shit.
Yeah, this dude is literally making a list. He's checking it twice, and then he's crossing off everyone who's black.
No. This is 100% based because men are just commodities for women to consume.
Right, exactly. You just gotta make a check mark list of the traits you want in a man, and then if you're beautiful enough, you can eventually find the man you want.
To be fair, for a lot of women, this is true.
I know, I'm just saying, again, this is just more probably unintentionally extremely based in true takes from the author.
And yet completely self-aware. Unself-aware, excuse me.
Oh, totally unself-aware, no, absolutely.
Sneaky, what was the name of this again?
The True Child of Chaos. The Brazilian linked it to us. True
Child of Chaos. Okay, that's... Yeah. Well, first of all, that's kind of disrespectful to all your siblings, isn't it? Like, yo, you're not my real siblings. Oh, shit, man. That's brutal.
Yeah.
No, I gotta say, if you ever want to write a story dealing with chaos,
see, the thing is like I don't understand the premise of that story either now, because like I could understand if it's like, okay, a Poseidon, so Percy gets kidnapped from Chaos, right? Okay, fine. Order, who is antagonistic to Chaos, adopts Percy, either knowing that it's Chaos's kid or not, but because Order adopts Percy, they don't give Percy back up to Chaos. That I was like, okay, fine, it's dumb, but it makes sense. At least if there's an antagonistic relationship between the two, that explains why Order is capable of adopting Percy, but at the same time, not giving him back to Chaos, despite him, But now in the story, we've established that they're best friends and they're siblings, and they really like each other. Not in that way, and so why would Chaos adopt a child that he knows the exact location of and then not bring it back to Chaos?
Literally take it from its mother.
Yes.
I think at this point they've just disappeared inside their own plot. This isn't salvageable. This is you need to gut 90% of it. Go back to brass tacks on this one.
Yeah.
Got 99% of it even.
It's a dumpster fire.
Let's see. Draco times Hermione times Severus story. What the fuck? Circle of the Sphinx. Had Hermione known her partner within the circle was her childhood tormentor, she would have scoffed at the idea that he was her perfect match. As she struggled to balance the responsibilities of caring for her possessive professor-turned-vampire, Severus Snape, she discovered something else, her partner, Draco Malfoy, whose identity she previously didn't know, was everything she ever yearned for. So quite literally...
Cringe.
Quite literally, we just went from a story talking about how women need to have children to have a purpose in their lives to women want to be beaten and taunted and degraded. And that's what they yearn for. Wow, we're just on a fucking roll with fanfiction tonight. Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. What was that real famous pickup artist that recently kind of got canceled, and it turns out he's
Andrew
like,
Tate.
real normie as hell.
Oh yeah, hyper normie.
Shit, I remember hearing about that. It's like every stereotype of that guy, but 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
shit,
Jesus Christ, and that's a very feminine sounding name, so that might be a female author as well. That's just par for the
no,
course.
it's just 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
it's just 50 Shades of Grey, but with different people.
Pretty much. She
It's still
didn't need to be
creepy.
saved. She didn't need to be saved. She needed to be found and appreciated. Hermione lost the person she thought she would spend her life with. It ended before it even got started. What if someone else was there to guide her through that rough time? Fate had an interesting way of revealing itself. Reboot of one of my oldest fanfics, trying to make it better. A Fred times Hermione story.
People really
No,
like fucking Ron, huh?
I'm gonna say
The
this.
third one's awful.
I don't really understand why people are so caught up on pairings and shit.
It's
get that
because
it
they
can be
lead
fun, but-
sad, lonely lives, and they can't comprehend not pairing their characters with someone else because all they can do is think about how they don't have someone else.
Yes, exactly
Now
this.
you're fucking depressing me, Sneaky. Okay.
No problem. It's what I'm here for.
No, the serious thing on here, if anyone watching this ever does want to write a story that focuses on a relationship, then my advice would be to
Actually have one.
yeah, of course, that helps a lot. No, it's to sit back and I would strongly suggest framing it slightly differently rather than starting off sappy and mopey and I suppose managing expectations. If you'll
Yeah,
Really?
whenever you write a story, you have to anchor the reader's expectations. And unfortunately, what it is. The first chapter is going to anchor the reader expectations, what the rest of the story is going to be like. And if the first chapter of your story is like this sappy, mopey, angsty garbage, it doesn't matter if halfway into your story it suddenly turns into this really cool action adventure. People are going to get angry that it's not the angsty, mopey garbage that they started the story with. People are going to drop the story for it being the angsty, mopey garbage because they're not interested in that and they don't care that midway through the story that it suddenly gets cool. They don't want to deal with the first half. There's a bunch of ways you can fuck shit up with your first chapter being garbage. And one of the ways I've seen authors fuck themselves over the most is where in the initial stories, initial chapters of the story, they have the theming and they have the setting and they have the character interactions go a certain direction. And then suddenly down the line, the author basically lost themselves in their own plot, and the genres massively shift without it being intentional, because you can get some very interesting effects out of an intentional narrative and genre shift. But if you just accidentally, you start your story off as this like action adventure, and then you get really invested in writing this romance between these two characters, it's going to be a shift that people aren't there for. Unless, of course, you write this like romance as in this outstanding fucking 9 out of 10 authorial narrative, and you totally built up to it just perfectly. I mean, even then people will still be pissed, but at least you'll have a fair number of audience retainment after that point. But if people are there to see this guy go on a hero's quest and then suddenly it derails from a hero's quest into this dude really wanting some poontang, then
That sounds like another Jack Black movie right there, to be honest.
honestly, if it was Jack Black, I would watch it because that actually sounds hilarious. But he would do it as a comedy.
Getting some poon is part of the hero's quest. Don't you know that? You gotta slay that pussy.
That sounds like a line coming from that movie.
For some reason, it does sound like a Jack Black line.
Oh, man.
And I can perfectly hear it.
In which we slay.
I can perfectly hear it in my mind in his fucking Jack Black accent. where he overemphasizes certain words.
And you know it's going to turn out to be like this horrific monster, and he's still going to seal the deal. And then he's going to end up having like pay child support to this horrific monster at the end of the series.
That's the twist at the end. Is that the real monster was the government we found along the way?
Yes.
Oh god. Anyway, Harry Potter and the Flight of the Phoenix, Part 2 of Phoenix Bond. Warning: foul language contains sex and nudity. Harry Potter times Susan.
Who the fuck is Susan?
Susan
The
Bones.
big kitty from Hufflepuff.
Susan doing them bones.
Yeah, big titty redhead.
It's bad that that's how I actually remember her.
Yes,
Harry
yeah,
Potter and
totally.
Flight of Phoenix Part 1, Phoenix Bond. This story takes place after second year. So Harry's 11?
He's 12.
12.
If it's second
12 or
year, he's
13.
12.
No, because doesn't the story start when they're 10?
That's
Well,
when they're 11.
yes, it starts when he's 10, but he goes into Hogwarts at age 11.
Okay. Still, point being, why is there sex scenes when they're 12?
Well,
No
Sneaky,
comment.
Some people are designed to go into wood chippers. Don't you know?
Fucking Harry Potter section, I swear to God.
Oh man. So pro tip for anyone out there: don't put kids in lemons. Just don't.
The real monster was the government along the way is such a line. Yes, you can go ahead and quote me on that. You can also go ahead and use me as a source for that. Man, this guy's got a way with words for his fucking summaries. Harry Potter, New Beginning. This story takes place after Harry's first year.
Well, you said something about anchoring expectations.
My expectations is that these stories are fucking garbage.
I think they've
Oh
done very well
god, this
there.
author doesn't believe in quote marks.
Oh,
Unfortunate.
One of those.
Mm.
He just straight up has people talking to each other without quotes. I have to ping fucking Psalm on this one. I have to hit Psalm in the face with this one.
Oh man.
oh boy, now we have to.
Punctuation is important. Learn to use it. Learn not to use it.
What?
This is the former case.
You learn to use what?
Learn to use punctuation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just
It's like it's for losers.
Is making out. Yeah, no. This person probably is probably like a teenager or something. This is like,
I mean, this is
also,
fanfiction.
yeah, okay, so they are 12, takes place after Harry's second year, literally in the first chapter, so they're 12, they're still 12. Harry and Ginny's prank was they started kissing each other. Ginny is 11, Harry is 12. Ron's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Ginny's like, yo, Ron, fuck off. I'm just thanking Harry for letting me suck his cock.
I beg your
What?
pardon?
She
okay,
is
look,
11. He is 12.
Well, to be fair,
No. No. You can't
no.
say to
No,
be
just
fair.
shut the fuck up, bro.
yeah, no,
Just shut
listen,
the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
personal anecdotes from
No.
my niece.
Nope.
No.
The children in her school are doing this at that age.
No.
oh, shit.
I'm
Yes.
pulling it. Yeah, you don't fucking write about that in your fan fiction. Hammer go Bach.
No, yeah, no.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this?
That's just not how kids talk. That's just not how kids think.
Dear Alice, how you doing today? Yeah, me baby boy will be born at end of the month. I'm wanting to ask if you will be Harry's godmother. I'll be Neville's, your friend, Lily. And Harry, we are godbrothers, Susan, do it now! And then they both kissed each other. And then Harry had a phoenix bond with Susan's soul, and their betrothal was completed.
What?
Did I just have a stroke?
I don't know, but I
Regrettably,
did
You
not.
wish you did.
I feel like I just had a stroke.
Nexus, to respond to what you said, it's not that it doesn't happen. It's just it's not something you really should be writing about. You know, it's just one of those things. It doesn't look good under really any circumstance.
Yeah,
There's literally never a circumstance where it looks good.
Yeah.
Like we all have stories. I'm pretty sure we
I
all
don't.
went to public schools.
Literally, the only story about sex I could tell you from public school was that I knew one of the cheerleaders was dating a college guy while
Mine
she
was
was a
horrible.
freshman.
Mine
Do
was
you not
horrible.
want to talk about your experiences at a certain camp?
Okay, but that wasn't at
Mine-
public school.
That's fair.
That was at
My
summer camp.
niece-
Go to church camp.
Yeah, so I went to a summer camp, and I unfortunately was introduced to gay people at that camp, and I was introduced in the manner of having to listen to them at the age of 14 having sex down the hall.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's when you became a homophobe. No, they should fear you.
Reasonably.
They should fear you. No, when I was 14 and I had just started the high school, there was a girl who got arrested because she was literally prostituting herself in the bathrooms in the technical hallway.
Wow.
There was like 9 guys in there who got arrested too.
We did have
As
one
is
girl.
correct.
We did have one girl get arrested. I remember from high school because she was incredibly ugly and she couldn't get a boyfriend. So she took a bunch of pornographic pictures of herself. And it wasn't just jeans. She also ate like a pig. She took a bunch of pornographic pictures of herself, and keep in mind she was a freshman, and then sent them to a bunch of people to try and entice them.
Oh, damn.
That's probably going to have the opposite effect. But,
Yes.
We had multiple arrests at my school. The one I went to had a big drug problem, and there's a lot of teenage pregnancy, a lot of stupid shit like that. We also had gangs.
Well, we didn't have gangs. We were just a lot of white trash.
Yeah, no. So you'll have a lot of teenage pregnancies too, but no. I grew up in a diverse school system.
Of course, yeah. Yes. So anyway, what happens if you mess with the betrothal contract? They must remain in contact with each other physically for an entire month. Because if they break the contract, they'll die. And the person who interferes with their betrothal bond will lose their magic.
It's always some stupid fucking excuse with these people.
How would you do that to a
Oh
baby?
no, says Guinea. I owe Harry a life debt now. Don't worry about it, Guinea. You won't lose your magic.
But why would you do that to your kids? Why would you put your kids in that situation?
Because they believe
Parenting.
that... No, they believe this is how medieval Europe did, is that they sold all their daughters off just like this.
Yeah, exactly. Also, because he's marrying into a family with a police captain on it, magically the Dursleys are going to be arrested for child abuse.
Huh? How the fuck does that work?
Because he
question it.
married a policeman. Duh.
Why is child abuse capitalized?
Because it's important.
Yeah, no, that's probably literally why it was.
They want you to understand just how important it is.
So, Susan, Harry, and
Person.
Amelia Bones march up to the Dursleys' house. They kick in the door, and they shoot magic at Vernon.
So they're all going to jail.
Was it a Scottish wand or was it a normal one?
Vernon Dursley, you're under the arrest for the abuse of Harrison James Potter.
names are Kid fucking
One of
Harrison.
those.
It's one of these stories.
Okay, now I'm imagining Harrison Ford dressed like he's in fucking Hogwarts.
Like Harrison Ford, he's getting frantic.
It's the old man Harrison Ford. Like, what's
I'm
going
just
on
gonna
here?
leave a review. The American schooling system has utterly failed you. I'll capitalize American, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna, knock on him for his grammar,
Reading
punctuation, and everything
your
else.
story only brings forth depression.
I love how they immediately defaulted to violence and assault, though. That's pretty fucking base.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Why wouldn't they default to violence and assault? There's no other way of ever doing anything at all.
They're Americans.
Vigilante justice and police abuse, police brutality. Yeah.
One of
Look,
the hallmarks of the
Look,
American system.
what are you talking about? That's not police brutality. That's just how police arrest people, don't you know? Like that's
is
all the
normal
police.
policing.
That's all the
Sneaky.
police do ever. Like
Sneaky.
the police don't ever just normally arrest people without beating the ever living
Sneaky.
shit out of them. That never happens.
To be fair, it is the British police arresting actual British citizens and not immigrants. So.
Well, no, this is the magical British police, so it's even fucking worse.
Oh man.
No, I'm just saying the media badly portrays our police, and the children that grow up in the American schooling system know only two things, and that's how not to speak English, and that the police are bad and beat people up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna head on out. I just want to thank you guys for having me on as always. And
Yeah, of course.
I hope wherever you end up.
Are you sure you don't want to hear about the darker Potter who shares DNA with the devil?
Oh,
Shut up.
God.
I'm gonna let you have all the fun on that one, bro.
Are you sure about that?
Good luck, everybody. Good
Alright,
night.
see ya, Albor. So anyway, as I was saying, the darker Potter, Leandra, has lived with the Walkers ever since she could remember. 10 years ago, she was left on their doorstep with her name and birthday written on a note. She loved the Walkers, but she longed for people to share her DNA. That was until she turned 11. What?
I'm sorry. She
Told
longed for
story.
people to. She longed for people to share her DNA.
What the fuck?
It's just her, she's
What are
adopted.
these dialogue tags? What the fuck? Leandra who? Leandra Potter, you're my twin sister. And you're a witch.
Yep. For the trifecta here, it's gonna be a case of mistaken person who lived, and she's the actual girl who lived.
Yeah, of course.
Let's say mistaken. They actually hid her away, or abandoned her.
They didn't want. They want her to grow up jealous while they trained Harry to defeat the Dark Lord.
Yep.
The
every time.
stereotype trope is.
There will be a Hogwarts, not a Hogwarts, a Diagon Alley shopping trip, obviously.
As is
Of course.
tradition.
Sirius will be the cool uncle who loves her but hates Harry, or conversely, loves Harry but hates her for no reason whatsoever.
And
Wait, that's
And
actually a thing.
The American education system has failed you. I will hold off on hitting this review button until I click on their profile to see if they are American or not. Because I do know other countries use dialogue tags that are not quote marks. I have published things on Wattpad. They censored Wattpad because they don't know if they're allowed to say Wattpad here. Interesting.
well,
I'm
no,
gonna
partly
go
because
get
they probably didn't want to speak its terrible name.
No, it's more that they don't like the competition. FFN censors all links and names of things like a subscribe star, for instance. You had to break it up into 2 words.
Oh my god.
How bad?
Don't keep us in suspense.
They're American, I can only guess, and it looks like they're still in school, which unfortunately, judging by the year join date, they probably are in high school.
We're surprised.
The American education system has failed you. Post.
No, you should put is failing you, just to point out their age.
That's true, but it also did in the past tense, because by the time of high school, you really shouldn't need to be instructed on how to improve your writing in terms of just sheer spag. At the point of high school, you should be being taught how to construct your English into the form of theses and essays and narrative. Spag is pre-high school, in my opinion.
Not anymore.
I'm aware.
That used to be the case. It ain't that way anymore.
Some good old wine beer. What the fuck are you drinking, Pedro? I found a Scottish
beer.
one.
You're welcome.
Wine beer.
Wine beer. Yeah, according to Pedro, it's Brazilian wine beer. God, the fucking Portuguese just ruin everything. Let's see, another Hermione times Draco story. It's a copy of Pride and Prejudice, but magic's been put inside, and the characters are replaced with Harry Potter characters. The Minister's Secretary, it's a no magic AU of Harry Potter. Where
Chakra Naruto AU.
it's no magic AU of Harry Potter is even worse than a no chakra AU of Naruto, because at least with Naruto you still have the historical Japan, overarching theming that you can at least make something out of. But
If they go that route.
no one ever goes that route. But non-magic AU of Harry Potter is quite literally just, I'm living in 80s Britain.
That's fucking awful.
Yeah, it's like, why the fuck would I read a book about that?
What a horrible existence. to
Yeah,
live
why
in.
would you ever subject readers to the idea that people lived in Britain in the 80s? Of course, by the way, Hermione ends up as Draco Malfoy's secretary, and he's the mayor of a city, and she gets railed on his mayoral desk because she falls in love with his power and his prestige.
Of course.
And money.
Of course. It's the money.
In Search of the Sun, 3 years after the war, scars of the past show themselves, and Hermione finds herself craving something else, and so she fucks Bill Weasley. And absolutely
Fair.
NTR's Fleur.
I was about to ask, wasn't he married?
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
She cucks both her
Woman.
husband and his wife. Harry Potter and the Aspiring Goddess. Leaving the Dursleys after a horrific event, Harry goes out on his own. His tale will lead us down the rabbit hole to a place long thought forgotten. Struggling with a power he never wanted, can he do what he must to make it out of with his life intact? With a plethora of obstacles, can he hold out, or will the darkness absorb all that it touches? Trigger warning, can be graphic. Somehow, no. Certain dark things. Harriet Potter, Fem-Harry AU, Slytherin AU, AU retelling of the Harry Potter series. No shit, it's gonna be an AU retelling if you take a female Harry Potter and put them in fucking Slytherin.
And they pair her with Draco, calling it now.
No, it looks like Hermione.
What?
Or an OC. Between having a shadow that moves and chatting with snakes in the garden, learning that she's a witch isn't the weirdest thing. And she has a lightning scar on her neck.
What the name of this was?
Certain Dark Things. It's 202 chapters long with 675,000 words, and it's been updating for the past 5 years.
What'd you say the name of this was? I'm sorry?
Certain Dark Things.
No, okay, they just stole like half the premise from some other story that I vaguely remember.
Probably. Marauders era fic. Boring. Thy Father Lies! Featuring Harry Potter and Severus Snape in the beaches of California.
Oh, more Severus, CA.
Also, I am now extremely disturbed by the premise of this story. Thy Father Lies, featuring a fatherly Snape raising Harry Potter. Since he was a baby, Harry has been raised in a small Californian beach town by
You're right, that's disturbing.
Gets worse. By his guardian, Severus Snape. Severus is overprotective and enforces strict rules, but Harry is happy in his care until the secrets start to emerge. Which, being that it's taking place in California, with a child as the main character.
Sneaky?
It's
Be
going where I
very
think it's
careful.
going, isn't it?
Probably. He's about to become Harry's daddy.
He played Had the Sausage, didn't he?
Probably. Lily's story. It's an old story, but it deserves to be told. We're gonna tell a story about Lily Evans. Yeah, riveting fucking story. Daphne Greengrass and the Boy Who Lived. No. Lizard and Therapies. Eliza Shafiq has lived the past 12 years as a muggle. With Sirius Black's prison break, she is forced back into Hogwarts for her own safety. There, she is joined by her friend, Remus Lupin, as she uncovers the truth about the night of the death of the Potters. The night her entire life came crashing down because Eliza Shafiq was the fifth Marauder.
No.
Yes. I'm not dead. Rose Potter was believed dead after Albus removed her from Godric's Hollow. Now she comes to Hogwarts to learn the truth, or will Albus keep keeping it from her? Just putting this out there to see if people are interested in this sort of story. There's no pairings right now. Featuring Blaze Zabini, Daphne Greengrass, Harry Female Potter, and Self-Insert OC.
Nope.
Cringe.
Yeah. Of course, there's also a Mega Mat story here.
The porn.
There's always a Mega Mat story here.
Of course.
What in the
constantly update his
absolute
garbage.
fuck? With Cyrus dead, Harry seizes an unexpected opportunity to save his godfather only to find himself in more trouble than he could have imagined. Arriving in 1930s Britain, he must now navigate the new world with a different threat, still with Voldemort's emergence on the horizon. But first, there's a greater war he must face and a new foe. The Dark Lord he knew not. Albus Dumbledore, Harry times Minerva. 77
Minerva's like
Yeah, but
Minerva, the old lady.
yeah, but she's a teenager now, so it's okay. Yeah, don't worry
Better
about
than
it.
it's honestly, it's better than her being an old lady, I guess. So that's
Yeah. Anyway, so 77 chapters, 548,000 words, 7,000 favorites. This story has been ongoing for a year.
okay.
Yeah,
That's kind of bad for Harry Potter, but
that's amazingly good for Harry Potter.
oh, it is. Oh, I haven't checked in a long time.
7,000 favorites in this day and age.
Oh, 7,000. I thought
Yeah.
you said 77. You said
No.
yes.
7,000 favorites.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a lot better than that's way better.
Yeah. That's why are Harry Potter fans like this? Anyway, we're gonna end the
Because they
podcast here.
refused to read another book.
This is true. Surrender. We're gonna see you next time, because there's always more, and it always gets worse.